you a business owner who's fed up with feeling like you have to be a boss babe CEO, whatever the hell that is, or hustle 24/7 in order to be successful? Well, if you're ready to do things in a smarter way, welcome to Life in Business. This is the podcast for women just like you who want an easy and effective way to grow your business that's built around genuine work-life balance and not a multi-million-pound empire. I'm your podcast host, Libby Langley, award-winning business coach and known as the Ease Queen because of my sensible and easy-to-implement ways to earn more by doing less. In Life in Business, I'm going to share with you how to make small but effective tweaks, how to be confident in your business decisions, and how to make a healthy and guilt-free profit doing exactly what you love most without working 14 hours a day. So get ready to make your dreams a reality. Here's this week's episode. Hey. Welcome to the Life in Business podcast. I'm your host, Libby Langley, and I today have something really cool to talk to you about. I want to give you 3 ways you can work less and earn more today. Now, I am known as the Ease Queen, and everything that I do in business, my own business, and everything I support my clients with is basically about working less and earning more. But that kind of is the end result, okay? It's how to make your business as simple as possible and as profitable as possible. Those 2 things for me really go hand in hand. So the simpler you make things, the more headspace you've got, the more time you've got, and the more profitable you make things, then the more money you've got in your pocket. And you can either spend that on fabulous things, or you can reinvest it into your business, or you can save it, but having that profit, having your eye on that profit margin and how that's going to help your business grow and set the foundations for your brilliant life is really important. So it's all about practicalities today. And so these 3 ways that you can work less and earn more today are simple to implement and mind shift changes for you so that you can, set yourself up to be super successful in the laziest and most chilled way possible, which is something that I am a big advocate of. So these 3 things then, what are they? Feels like a big promise there that I can, in one podcast episode, give you 3 ways to work less and earn more, but it's true, okay? And actually, the thing with business is that often we just overcomplicate everything. And I think that the online world is kind of one of those perpetuators of the fact that everything has to be complicated and everything has to be, funneled to within an inch of its life, Just for example, talking about, this isn't one of the 3 points, but talking about a marketing funnel can be 3 steps. Okay, it can be, here is the thing, here's how you get the thing, here's one email that you get back, and then this is how you get in touch with me to work with me more. It can be so simple like that. It doesn't need to have 57 different steps, and it doesn't need to be hugely complicated. So everything can be simple in your business. It's just a case of underthinking it rather than overthinking it. And I know as business owners, overthinking, second guessing, questioning everything is unfortunately just a kind of thing that everybody does. But I am here as the Ease Queen to stop that and to make things so much easier for you. So let's go through these 3 things that you can implement today. The first one is to set a really clear goal. Now, I love talking about goals. I love talking about your big vision and your big mission because it is the single most important thing in your business. The more you focus and visionize, is that a word? Envisage? That's not a word, the right word either. And have your big goal as your vision, then the more that you can kind of really see what's going on. And the more you think about something, the more it becomes real. And that's what we want. That's manifesting. That's what we want. We want to have a really clear goal that you think about, you believe is going to happen, you embody, and then lo, it does become real. So set yourself a really clear goal. And when you're thinking about this goal that you want to set, it's got to, quite simply, be something that you care about. It's no good setting yourself a goal of having £1 million business because it doesn't mean anything. What does that mean? Anyone can have £1 million business if they spend £900,000 on ads to get you there. It doesn't mean anything. But what is it? What's something that you really care about? What's something that you really, really want? And that could be a really big holiday that you want to take. It could be a new car that you want to buy. It could be a new house that you want to live in. All of these things that you really want, this feeling, this emotion, this everything that goes with having this thing that you want. It takes money in order to be able to do that. And so the vision and the goal, the life that you want to live, the emotion that you step into of when you've achieved that goal, that's what you need to keep in mind. That's what you need to put on your vision board. That's what you need to have in your head with everything that you're doing. And just that alone, that one little step exercise alone will make a big difference to you. Okay, so setting all the financial targets that you want, fine, brilliant, do that. But what does that mean? How does that feel? What will you be when you achieve that? How will you feel when you're on your beautiful family holiday that you've you've paid for in cash? No credit cards inside. You've afforded it because of how successful you've been in your business. How will you feel when you're there, when you're lying on the beach or you're standing on the top of the mountain or you're whatever it is that your holiday that you want? That's the feeling that you want to keep inside you. That's the feeling that you want all the time. And that's why setting a really clear goal that you care about, that's what's important. That's what's so important with all of this. Hello, my lovely. My book, Life in Business, is available to buy now. It's full of my experiences over my 11 years in business to give you the advice, real talk, love and support that you need to help you work less, earn more and embrace true happiness in your business. It's the book that you need right now, today. So go to libbylangley.com/book and get your copy now. And having something that you can picture as your goal makes it so much easier to stay focused on it. So something you can picture, like a new car, like being on a beach on holiday, like living in a new house, like wearing the fabulous coat that you've been coveting. This is something that you can picture. And the trouble with setting just financial goals is that how can you picture yourself with that money? What do? You picture yourself sitting in a bath full of pound coins or rolling around on a bed covered with £50 notes. It's not something that you're probably ever going to do and therefore isn't the motivator. But actually picturing yourself in this scenario, in this physical situation that you have achieved, this goal that you've achieved, is so much more powerful. And then what you can do with this goal, with this big vision that you've got really clear in your mind, is that you can reverse engineer it. You can then put some practical steps in. You can add in some mini steps. So in order to pay for that holiday that you want in the summer or at Christmas, then what do you need to, how do you need to get there? Okay, so what are the steps? What are the reverse engineered steps that you need to put into place? But that's the how, right? That's the actual practical doing it. The what and the why is the thing that's going to motivate you. So that's the first thing that you can implement today to help you work less and earn more, is absolutely have a laser focus on a goal that you really, really care about. And then let's add in some practicalities then. As point number 2, let's talk about blocking your time out. To be the most efficient in your business, therefore to work less, you need to be kind of strict on yourself. So you need to have ways of working that are the most efficient, that are the most effective, that are going to get you to that big super, I feel so good goal that you've got. And if you block your time out, then that is simply the most efficient way to work. So the more of the same thing that you do at the same time, the less effort it's going to be. So for me, let's say using recording my podcasts as an example, I batch record. So I block out half a day or a day, depending on how many I'm recording, and do that, because then I'm in the mind frame, headspace of actually talking to you, of deciding what I'm going to say, of talking stuff, because it's a different energy for me to be talking, and I know that I need to kind of manage that energy. So I block out time in order to be able to do that. If I was recording a podcast episode and then going to create some other content, and then I've got client calls, and then I'm going out to meet someone, it's lots of different jumping about and different energy, different types of energy and different kind of headspaces and mindsets. So it actually takes more time. And I remember reading some stats years ago that I can't remember what they are exactly. So I'm going to make up some stats to emphasize the point. But by chopping and changing tasks, you lose something like 50% of your momentum in that particular task because of this having to switch between things. So checking your emails, for example, if you just check your emails first thing in the morning and then last thing in the night, you will be much more efficient in responding than if you, every time an email pings, you're reading it, or a social media comment or a DM on Instagram. If you're reacting every time, then you're actually taking your mind away from what it was that you were focusing on and kind of jumping in and jumping out. So if you got an email partway through writing a blog or writing an email out to your list, you switch to read the email that's come in or the social media comment that's come in, the DM. And then when you switch back to what it was that you were doing, the quiet, contemplative writing mode of a blog or an email to your list, your first thing will be, what was I doing? And so you'll have to read back through what you were writing to get back into the headspace. But if you just ignored that DM or that email that had come in, you could have finished what you were doing. And then when it's time to check messages, you're in message checking headspace, and it's different. Yeah. So it's a much more efficient way of working. Like I said, I can't remember the statistic, but it was something like 50% of momentum that you would lose. So the more you do of the same thing at the same time, the less effort it's going to be overall. And batch creating is just one example of that, absolutely. And also it will make your content far more cohesive, because if you just create, let's talk about creating reels or posts for Instagram. If you're just creating one at a time, you're going to be much more in the, what shall I say today? Which is not a particularly strategic way to focus on your marketing, to focus on your content. Whereas if you think, right, what am I launching in a month's time? Or what's my focus for this week? Or what's my theme going to be for this month or this quarter? Then actually you can batch create stuff that's much more strategic and much more on message, much more on plan, guides people along in your customer journey much more efficiently and effectively than, what am I talking about today? What am I doing today? And it would be better experience for you because you'll be working less, and it'll be better experience for the people who are consuming your content because it takes them on a natural journey, right? It just helps them understand who you are, what you do, and what you focus on. And that's the way that you're going to get more clients, is by being absolutely consistent in what it is that you're talking about. And I know sometimes that's kind of hard from a content creation point of view, because you think, oh, I've talked about this, I've talked about this. Yes, but not everybody sees all of your content. Not everybody consumes everything that you put out there. So they haven't seen everything. So to them, it's not repetition at all. It's just this, oh yeah, they're the expert in that. They're the expert in that. So it makes a big difference. And blocking out your time is definitely one way to help you do this. I would also suggest that you kind of think about that for your client work as well. Now, client calls, for me, I have calls with my client interspersed with Voxer support, which is different. I can kind of, I can do that as and when. That's it's a much more kind of fluid way of working. But for the client calls, because of the energy that they take and the helping mindset that I need to be in, I do client calls on certain days of the week. And that works for me and it works for my clients, because they know, if we're going to have a regular call, we have a regular call on Monday lunchtime. That's when our regular call is. And we all know what to expect. And I know what's coming up in my diary, and they know when they need to put their big old accountability pants on and report back to Libby. It's just a more efficient and effective way of working for everybody. So structure and routine actually is kind of quite important as a foundation. Not to say that takes all the fun out of business, far from it, because all these things are fun in themselves. But it is a way that you can actually work more. So I challenge you to spend a week or two rigidly blocking out your time for what it is that you need to do, and see actually how many fewer hours you actually end up working. And if it means that you've done all the things that you want to do because you've been super efficient, if it means that you've done all the things that you want to do by 3:00, well, that's a winner. So you're not just sitting at your desk all day, desperately working through your tasks. You've been efficient, you've blocked, and you've got it done. Woo! So then you've got this magical thing called work-life balance, because you've done the things that you wanted to do, and then you can go and have fun doing the other stuff outside of work that you want to do. And it's magical when you crack that, I have to say. So the third way that you can work less and earn more this week is to quite simply say no to anything that is not going to help you achieve that gorgeous, clear goal that you've got in your head. Remember that feeling of sitting on the beach, the warm rays on your skin, is some of the stuff that you do actually going to get you there? Is spending half an hour creating one Canva post going to get you there? No, it's not. It just isn't. But is batch creating 7 or 8 quick posts on the same theme that you can bang, 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 bang create them because your mind is in the right zone going to help you get there? Hell yeah it is. So there's a big difference there. So before you do anything, ask yourself, does it help you get to your goal? And if the answer's no, say no to it. Don't do it. And you'll find that lots of things that you're doing in your business, they're not really all that helpful. They're not really all that productive. And if you stopped doing them, nothing would happen. I actually had a client who was doing a one-to-one coaching client who was doing some things in her business that she didn't much enjoy, and it wasn't profitable either. It was a service that she was offering that wasn't profitable. It was very time consuming. She wasn't charging enough for it. And it just really frustrated her. And I said to her in one of our calls, I said, what would happen if you stopped doing it? And there was a pause. And then she burst into tears because she said, nothing would happen. Nothing would happen. And the relief of knowing that what she'd been frantically chasing about, thinking, well, I need to do this, I need to do this, I need to do this, but was just taking loads of time and wasn't profitable. She didn't have to do it anymore. And the relief of that made her so emotional. But actually, that's the question that you can ask yourself all the time on every single thing that you do. What would happen if I didn't do this? And there will be things that nothing's going to happen. Nothing will happen if you don't do this. And it might be creating beautifully curated posts in Canva that take you half an hour or an hour each, when actually you could just record a talk to camera 1 minute video and share it. And so you've gone to from 30 to 60 minutes to 1 minute and maybe 5 minutes. Let's say 5 minutes in total. And you've got the same message out there. So you can stop doing the carefully curated things that aren't necessarily, received as well as you would like, because social media doesn't work like that, and spend your time doing something else. And I'd ask myself this question quite a lot. Is this helping me get to my end goal? And half the time, I flipping well know that I'm just wasting time doing something because it's a shiny thing that's taken my interest. But is it helpful? No. And so saying no to things is just going to get you more quickly towards your goal. And it's going to save just a shit ton of time as well. And that's what we like, working less, working less, working less. So saying no to everything else, what are you the expert on? What is it that you are the expert on? I am the expert on helping women in business work less and earn more in the easiest possible way. I am the ease queen. And so that's what I stick to. Stick to that. That's your message. That's what you always talk about. You might be the expert on making gorgeous smelling wax melts or on helping people prioritize their health. That's what you talk about. That's what you focus on. That's your message all the time. You do not need to deviate from that ever. You do not need to deviate from it. And the more you stick to that, the easier it's going to be for everybody to understand what you do. Therefore, it's going to be easier for you to earn more because people will say, oh yeah, Libby, she's the expert. She's the ease queen. She's the expert on helping me simplify my business so that I make as much profit as is humanly possible. And then people will come to you. Easier to earn more, and you have to work less hard for it. But you do have to be strict. You do have to be strict and have a word with yourself sometimes. So the more that you say no to things, actually, the more you say no to things that deviate from you getting towards your goal, the more space you're opening up for the right opportunities to come your way. And that's incredibly powerful. And the more you say no to things that aren't directly in your zone of genius, aren't helping you get towards your goal, the more you're going to earn, because the more you're focusing on the core activities and you can fine tune them to be as profitable as humanly possible. And you're not wasting time and energy flitting here, there, and everywhere on things that just aren't right. It's a really simple formula for success. And it's just stuff you can do today. You can start doing it today. So if you get an inquiry in I had an inquiry recently that was somebody they had a problem with their Facebook shop, and they wanted someone to sort it out. Now, this is something that I can do because I have had over a decade of working with social media and helped a lot of people with their social media over the years, but it's not what I want to do, and it's not what interests me, and it's not my core offering, and it's not my zone of genius. So I offered a session where I could coach them and teach them how to sort this out, because those sessions are something that I have available, one-to-one sessions, but I said no to actually doing the work for them, because not something I do, not something I want to do, not something that's going to distract me from my really clear goal. And they came back and said, no, I want someone to do it for me. Thanks for the offer of the coaching session, but it's not what I want. Brilliant, fine, mutually agreed, we're not the right match. And that's fine, and that's okay. And because I dealt with it in an open and honest way like that and saying, yeah, can do it, don't want to do it, we'll help you do it. And they said, nah, don't want to learn how to do it. Very quickly, we got to the point of knowing that we weren't the right fit and we weren't going to be working together. But because it was done in such an open and honest way, there's zero animosity. There was no kind of rebuffal. I didn't take on any work that I ended up resenting. So it's brilliant. The more you say no to things, the clearer you are and the quicker you can move forward. And this is all about you being laser focused on what you really want. And along the way, you work less to get there. And we are all about efficiency here on the Life in Business podcast. We're all about ease. So my book, Life in Business, is full of ways that you can work less and earn more. And the net result of that is that you will embrace true happiness in your business. And it's all about being happy. It's all about the journey that you can take. So if you want to read more ways, get more support on that, then go to libbylangley.com/book and you'll be able to get your hands on my Life and Business book. But of course, every week in my Life and Business podcast, I also offer you ways, because that's what I talk about and that's what I do and that's what I'm laser focused on, because that's what's going to get me to my goal and make you a super happy client of mine. It all goes together and it's all a beautiful circle in business. So what have I talked about today? I've talked about setting a really clear goal that you care about. I've talked about a practical way you can get there quicker by blocking your time out and being strict and being far more efficient. And then also how to say no to anything that doesn't get you towards your goal. And those three things you can implement today, this week. They are going to be super solid foundations for you to work less and earn more and achieve that beautiful, sweet goal of yours. So thank you for listening today. And tell me how you've got on with this. DM me on Instagram at Libby Langley. And I can't wait to hear from you. See you next week. Thank you for listening to Life in Business. Please make sure you subscribe or follow so you don't miss any future episodes. If you enjoyed today's show, please leave a review, as it helps others to find the podcast and spread the word that there is an easier way to do business. If you want to chat with me about today's episode or suggest a topic for the future, I'd love to hear from you. You can find me on Instagram at Libby Langley. See you next week.